Hello, welcome, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Part 2 of the No Limit Special of Fighter Jet Roundtable Tournament. This will be the last time you get to listen to my wonderful voice over the roundtable for quite some time. At least until Season 2, whenever the hell that's gonna be. Considering that we have KSP 2 coming out sometime this year, supposedly, and then they're just now getting ready to release version 1.9 of regular KSP, and this is still on version 1.7.3. So we're going to have some catching up to do when it comes to mods and everything else. In any case, let's go ahead and get on down to the Watchtower and the Round Table. Hey, look where we are again. Yeah, boy. And see what kinds of crazy shenanigans we have for all of you today. So the eagle-eyed of you may have already seen the aircraft that we were going to be seeing first today, but just in case you didn't, we have the KT-1NG Kite over here, flashing yellow, sent in by Nine Spree, and the Liberator Doomslayer, sent in by Maximus Light. So let's go ahead and get them into the air, and while they get into the air, I will explain some of the interesting things that we will see this time. So, this is the semi-finals and finals of the No Limit Showdown. They're No Limit Special anyway. As you might have imagined, that means there are things that I can do to make things even more interesting. And if I get bored or I want to spice up the competition a bit, I have allowed myself, because it's my show and I can do whatever the hell I want, I have allowed myself to spawn in what I'm going to be calling the Hype Squad. Yes, the Hype Squad is one or more of my own aircraft spawned onto their very own team, not allied with any of the other competitors, to basically just fly around and blow things up and, create the hype. Whether or not I decide to do that, I don't know. It'll depend on how I'm feeling. Also, when it comes down to fights, whether or not it's a one-for-all or, whether or not it's just a base old one-for-all or a best of three will depend completely on how interesting the matches themselves actually are. So, since we're starting with the two more standard aircraft of this mix, it should be kind of, we'll see. It'll be kind of interesting to see how everything plays out. I have no idea. And just to be kind, I went ahead and increased the armor count on the Kite, at least on some of the pieces, because I couldn't be asked to do all of it, to 500. On some parts, just so it would have a little bit more of a chance to survive in the No Limits. So, here we are, looking down from above, as, MPBMs get launched that way by the Kites. They're gonna go long and then loop around. Like we have these here. I believe these are actually cruise missiles being fired from the Doomslayers. Another MPBM, looks like that MPBM got caught and blew up its host craft. That is 100% not a good thing. Also looks like these cruise missiles may have locked onto that craft, which, I suppose could be a good thing as opposed to this other Kite. But effectively, we now have what is a 2v1. Never a good situation in which to find yourself. Not good at all. Oh no. And there we go, the cruise missiles just doing their thing. Meanwhile, one of the Doomslayers, or both of the Doomslayers, are starting to open up with, their weapon group, the Doomslayer. Go ahead and watch them here. More explosions. That Kite is gonna have a bad day. It's got a parade of clams heading for it. And here comes some AIM-9Xs just to spite you. And then, for just a second, it unloaded with all those weapons. Got Kite debris. Kite is still there. We know those... Look at that! It's just got everything. It's got an EML. It's got lasers. It's got pulse lasers. Hey, and it got missiles. Oh, man. Okay. Oh! Just to add insult to injury. Oh, jeez. Oh, that was fun. I liked seeing that. All right. That's pretty good. I want to see another one. Don't you? I want to see another one. So we're going to see another one. On to round 2. So here we are for round 2 between these fighters, with the Doomslayer very, very quickly beating the crap out of the kites. Well, mostly because the kite blew itself up. So let's go ahead and get these aircraft into the air and start the competition. And just like that, we have the aircraft starting off. But you may notice we have someone else on the field. Yes, we have the Hype Squad, AFX 01A Balmung Mark X. Yes, it's technically a neutral observer, so let's go ahead and take a look at that thing. Yeah, this is a Kaz design. Not specifically built for No Limits, but it was put together primarily for No Limits in mind. At least this loadout. The aircraft itself is one I've been working on for quite some time. You can see it's got a hefty dose of pulse lasers, 2 MPBMs, and 20 QAM missiles, as well as 4 engines. Yes, it's got the Product 30 engines along with the WS-10 engines in there. It is truly a very fast, very mean beast of an aircraft. That's why it's gonna bring the hype. And just for shits and giggles, I did not put a turret on it because, what's the fun in that? So, watching here, we can see the other 2 teams getting into position for the most part here. It's actually quite interesting watching things from this perspective. Kinda nice. It's only fair I get to play around and No Limits too. I mean, I've had to sit through everybody else having fun. So, why can't I have a little fun? That's my theory, anyway. Besides, it's only 1 aircraft. What kind of damage would 1 aircraft possibly do? So it looks like the competitors on that side are just about at 16 kilometers. Not quite sure why things aren't starting. There it is, actually, now beginning. Not sure who is shooting what, but we'll go ahead and watch from this perspective. Let's actually go ahead and zoom on out to see how the other 2 teams are doing. Looks like at the moment, the other teams are in fact launching their MPBMs and other long-distance weaponry. Not sure, Hype Squad has the MPBMs from its payload launched as well. Looks like they're heading for the Liberator side of things. Interesting enough, MPBM over there from the kites also being launched. Not really sure what to make of all this. We'll see as they start getting closer to one another, I suppose. The Balmung there was already a fast aircraft to begin with, and with the 4 engines in there, it's even faster and more crazy than it was before. Looks like the cruise missiles, all the cruise missiles, are actually heading for the Hype Squad. However, there is an absolute parade of MPBM death being launched at both of the kites right now. That is just insane. So let's go ahead, come on down here and see how the Balmung is going to actually react to being shot at there. As you can see, it's moving well over Mach 2. Quite fast. Missiles just streaking by between both these enemy teams over here. Look at that parade of death. MPBMs. Lots of MPBMs. And QAMs. We have lag. That makes me wonder. Can't really say for sure what's going on. But it looks like those cruise missiles that were heading out just didn't manage to get into it. Oh, on that hand, that looked like an MPBM or something going off, and we have lag. Yep. Balmung took a direct hit and is blown to pieces. You can see all those fancy pulse lasers there. And a Quam comes in just to put the nail in the coffin for the Balmung. Meanwhile, over here, the Kites are launching some of those fun PL-15s. Let's go ahead and check out the Kites, shall we? Since the Balmung has been dealt with quite readily. This Kite looks like it's not doing particularly well. Its main core there seems to have been blown off, and it's not looking particularly aerodynamically stable at this point in time. Let's check the other Kite. Other Kite looks like it's in a similar predicament with its wing being blown off, but it does look far more stable. That being said, let's go ahead and slip on over to a Doomslayer. Look at this! It is just lighting up with those things from afar. And it's only got the one tiny little engine. This is why I like the Hype Squad. It manages to distract from some of the bigger, more, well, less amusing aspects of things, and then it lets things get closer for the real fun. It's doing its dangest. Oh, that's an EML kill! Yes! Oh, Kaz loves the EML kills. Yes! The other Doomslayer is lighting up the other one. Let's go ahead and get behind that one. Oh, that's just cool. And even still, it's taken a beating from something. Fire! Fire, fire, fire. Lots of fire. Let's see how this Kite is actually doing. It's still functioning, and it's actually climbing, interestingly enough. What's the other Doomslayer doing? Tries to move in there. It's just kind of slowly derping along with that single engine, doing its best to keep it together. Looks like this piece of structural wing there is not doing so hot. And I don't know how much, this one's not dead, but it's not really alive. And it is, but it isn't. That little engine isn't going to be able to provide enough electricity to do much of anything, as we can see. It's very slowly going up, but only because it doesn't have its radar on and everything else. It might effectively be dead in the water. Let's go ahead and slip to the other Doomslayer. It's got that single engine, so it does actually have a decent bit of electric charge generation. Although it's not going to have very much if those lasers have anything to say about it. Those lasers are very, very hefty when it comes to power draw. Over there we have the other Kite. The Kite looks like it's actually on the tail of the Liberator, at least at a bit of a distance here. This thing gets into gun range, it will absolutely shred things with that multitude. Looks like 10. 10 total BK-27 Mausers. Very mean. Not really sure what to say at this point. Doomslayer there seems to be on its last legs. This one still just kind of floating, doing its darndest, but it's not going to get much done. Kite's doing its best, avoiding the turret, but that Liberator looks like it's going to hit the ground. Nope, it has managed to pull up and away. Good for it. The other Doomslayer is still just kind of floating along there. Well, I'm getting bored. So, I think it's time... Oh, I think it might be time for some more fun. Da-da-da-da-da, there we go. And drop that sucker there. More Hype Squad, keep things interesting. There we go, and it's off. Let's go see how the kite is doing. That Doomslayer is still up. Where's the other one it was firing at? That's the small one. Here's the one with the larger engine. It's now doing its best to try and avoid missiles from, I imagine, the Hype Squad. Hype Squad already firing MPVMs at long range. Both craft actually doing that as a safety precaution. And it looks like it is firing back at the kite again. Kite trying to do its best to keep away from there. Looks like it's also focused on that Doomslayer. It's doing its damnedest. Doomslayer is still flying around. Both of them. This one doing its best. This one's still just kind of floating in the air with that single engine. And there goes Hype Squad Balmung. Looks like it's closing in. It's no more invincible and or overpowered than any of the other aircraft here. Hey, I just think it looks really pretty. More guns being fired, and looks like a PL-15 missile being fired. Whoa! What was that? Oh, that was a PL-15. PL-15 being fired, carried by the kites. Quam being launched from the Balmung at one of the Doomslayers. Now we are accelerating quite quickly back up to Mach 1, and we've got the pulse lasers going. That Doomslayer looks like it's seen much better days here. Getting some small hits on the bottom, probably knocking out missiles. Doomslayer is still functional, doing its best. His Doomslayer, though, looks like it did end up getting hit. Kite, still doing its best. Has a good lock on something. Aim 9. Hype Squad. Either way, I think it's safe to say that if we look at it, the Liberators are basically down here. Liberator has no engine there. This Liberator also has no engines. It's basically floating. It does have the turrets, but it's basically just a floating turret at this point. It's not going to do very much. There are some explosions. Not sure from what. Oh, no. Looks like the kite managed to crash. Alright, so what I'm going to do for that one is we're going to say that the kite was ultimately the victor. After all, though the Liberator is still, well, functional, it was effectively the first craft to be dead. Both of them lost their engines and their real ability to fight. The kite was still maneuvering and had weapons, at least until it crashed into the ground somewhere. So, that being the case, we're going to say that the kite wins this one, which means it's 1-1. That means there's going to be a round 3. So here we are back at the beginning for round 3. With the planes into the air, along with our super fun Hype Squad. So whoever wins this one will be continuing on to fight the winner of the next 2. Can't say who that's going to be, but I can make a pretty educated guess. If if you've done the math, you already know who's fighting in the second round. And based off of that, you may draw your own conclusions about who's going to win there. That being said, I am quite pleased with the way the Hype Squad has been playing out. Keeps things interesting for me, and perhaps keeps things more interesting for you. After all, just watching planes sort of float around and take tiny pot shots at each other isn't particularly exciting. At least not for me. Besides, I want to have fun too, damn it. Went a whole season without being able to really do anything. Okay, yeah, I got to make stuff for the boss fight, but I mean, come on. That's not the same, and everyone knows that. This thing, however, I am very proud of this aircraft. Based on the first one of my designs that could actually go 1-to-1, even with the Liberator. The original Liberator. So, in any case, we're starting to get fairly far away there from those aircraft. They are basically 16 kilometers away. Maybe I'm just 16 kilometers away from them, and they might not be 16 kilometers away from each other. And there we go. Once again, it looks like the BAL is going to be launching those MPBMs, and one of the kites just blew themselves up, ripped their own missiles. Both of the kites just blew themselves up with their own missiles. Well, that is most unfortunate. Well, the show must go on. Let's see how Hype Squad does against two Liberators. I have absolutely no idea how this is going to go. In testing, even 2v2, the Balmungs were in fact we have an explosion. Looks like the Doomslayers are having a little bit of issues with one another here. Can't say how that's going. However, we've got MPBMs and likely to be clams coming in. And that looks like a dead Balmung. It has been sucker punched by multiple MPBMs. Well, if there was any kind of doubt whatsoever about which craft was going forward, the Doomslayer moves on. Excellent. Let's get into round 2 of these fights. And here we are, back for round 2 of the semifinals. We are looking at the Virtue 11 Pro Max sent in by Android Elite, as well as the Ha-Ha mandatory turret meta, and the Missile Brick and Laser Ball sent in by Box of Stardust. Should be entertaining in testing, at least as far as I saw. The Virtue seemed, its biggest enemy was the ground. It just kept crashing. So, well, let's see how that does anyway. Get the planes up and get them going. Chug, chug, chug-a-lug, ladies and gentlemen. Chug, chug, chug-a-lug. Missile Brick taking off first. Virtue gonna try and do its best. Laser Ball still kind of moving its way there. Not sure how long it's gonna take for it to take off, but it's got very minuscule lifting surfaces. It's up in the air. And the Virtue's still having problems, but it looks like it's finally taking off. Yep, there it goes. Alright, so the Virtue has a little bit of a problem that it's awfully chunky. And because it's so chunky, well, it tends to kind of float in the air somewhat, which might be a problem. And by that I mean it doesn't quite, well, it doesn't really fly very well. At least when it was fighting some other things earlier on when I was playing around for shits and giggles. Not really a whole lot to say. The Virtue is basically the slow boy here. I'm just gonna go ahead and go quiet, and we'll cut to when things are more interesting. And just like that, the competition starts. You've got meteor missiles being launched by both the missile brick and the laser ball. Those are very fast missiles. Meanwhile, they have tiny little intercept missiles being launched by the mandatory turret meta. And we can see just how fast those meteor missiles are, even with the, like, 50% speed or something that we're on right now. You can see how fast those are moving. Those are very fast, very deadly missiles. And they're heading for the turret meta. And 2 direct hits on the turret meta. Another direct hit on the turret meta. And another. And just like that, the turret meta is absolutely destroyed. Of course, the... oh, and now we're getting hits on the Virtue. Let's go ahead and swap to the Virtue. Watch these missiles come in and hit this sucker. It's, seems to be having some issues. Those guns are trying to take out the incoming missiles, but they're just so fast. The projectile's so small. You can see another parade of missiles coming in. And there's another hit. It's going to start losing turrets if it keeps taking that. It lost something important there. Not sure what it was. And boom, we can very clearly see Virtue absolutely down. Missile brick and laser ball moving on. I'm quite pleased with that. Mostly because it means a little less lag for my computer. You know what? I'll give them the benefit of a second round, even though my computer is going to hate me for it. Don't say I never did anything for you, Android. And once more, we are back. Get these aircraft into the air. I hate that I have to wait so long. Luckily, you guys don't, because with the magic of editing, well, you guys don't have to wait at all. So, you'll hear me again when the competition starts once more. And just like that, the competition has started. More meteor missiles being launched. And again, even with the... yeah, I didn't think so. Time warp still at 1. Those missiles are just that fast, ladies and gents. And there are a lot of them. Just look at that. Oh yes, those intercept missiles will surely help. That's... oh my goodness. Mandatory turret meta. Oh, gets hit. Oh, it's just so many missiles. Meteor slamming into the Virtue. Got lag. Virtue just eating shots. Turret meta once again has been eliminated from long range with the meteor missiles. Meteors are now targeting the Virtue again. Let's go ahead and launch that Virtue. It looks like it's plummeting toward the ground. It is. Even if it wasn't stuck on the ground, those missiles were definitely going to be doing that in. Ooh, boy. Well, definitely no, Yeah, so we know who's going on in the next one, ladies and gents. It is, in fact, Box of Stardust. Let's go ahead and get these aircraft together and see who will win the No Limit Showdown. So here we are back for the final match of the No Limits Special. We have the AC Liberator Doomslayers going up against the Missile Brick and Laser Ball. Maximus Light versus Box of Stardust in an epic showdown for the ages. Let us begin. I am quite excited for this. Beautiful nighttime setting, galaxy overhead, moon rising, Inmus rising, Drez. What's a Drez? Part of me's kind of glad the Virtue went down as quickly as it did. Otherwise, that could have been a very, very, very long match. I was not anticipating it to be defeated that quickly either. Those meteor missiles, speedy, nasty things. And the competition finally starts. How much you want to bet those are MPBMs being launched first? Nope. Cruise missiles being launched first, as a matter of fact. And the meteor rain begins on the missile brick. Oh wait, no, that's the laser ball. Never mind. Missile Brick, however, does begin firing its meteors as well. They go streaking across the distance. It's nighttime, you can see the outlines of them far more clearly. Ah, those are fast. Those are so fast. And that Liberator seems to just be skirting by, moving at high speed. Just barely. That one, oh, by the skin of its angry, angry teeth. Oh, and we have a hit. Doomslayer getting hit, and another hit. I think it's safe to say that this is very quickly going to turn, yep, into a 1v2. Meanwhile, the cruise missiles just lazily flying on by, not really hitting much of anything. And here comes Meteor. That's, yep, I could see it. That was going to be a hit. And very, very quickly, the Missile Brick and Laser Ball are proving their dominant capabilities. Let's go ahead and get into round 2. Here we are for round 2 between the Doomslayers and the Hellspawn Airborne Air Defense Network. And you might also notice we have another deployment of the Hype Squad. Yes, this is to try and keep things interesting. After all, I'm not the biggest fan of, things just getting blapped from missiles at long range. So, we're gonna try things this way. Maybe it'll mean things will get into a little closer quarters and things will be a little more interesting to watch. So, thanks to the magic of editing, I'll see you guys when this fight starts. And just like that, finally, the competition is starting! Once more, it looks like the Liberators and the Missile Brick and Laser Ball are the ones to get their stuff off first. The Balmungs are still hanging back here, quite the distance away from the field. Those cruise missiles have fired. Not that it's necessarily going to matter with all of the meteor missiles. Definitely Meteor Swarm. Reminds me of the 9th level Dungeons and Dragons spell, Meteor Storm. This is definitely a storm of meteors and explosive death. Showing a little of my nerd card there. And the meteors are coming in. The first pair just barely missing the Liberators. The other meteors trying to streak in against the Balmungs, but they are so far holding together. The game is just chugging along, trying to handle all of these calculations. However, it is indeed possible we might see some close-range combat, which is far more interesting than long-range missile kills, at least in my personal opinion. Finally looks like the meteor storm seems to have let up. However, we're having lag. That means I think something may have gotten hit. Yep, Balmung getting hit, at least one of them. Enough to knock out the AI pilot module, it appears. Yep. Oh, and we have a PL-10 being launched. Let's go see how that remaining Balmung is looking. Since as far as I can tell, they're the only aircraft that would have taken any damage. This one looks to mostly be unharmed. Interesting. Moving quite quickly. Loading up Wham, trying to get a lock. And we have gunfire over here from the Liberators. Let's get on those. Those are, after all, the stars of the show. Let's get into fighter cam here just so we can watch what it's targeting. Which one is that? That is the laser ball. Something's exploding on the laser ball as the Liberator zooms past. Doomslayer still firing. Missile brick. Looks like the Balmung got taken out by something. This is finally a 2v2. Yep, there goes the Balmung, having hit the ground. And something is lagging. Uh-oh. One of the Doomslayers got taken out by something. It might have been its own missile. It's really hard to say. Not really sure which one it could have been. Missiles being launched from, I think that's the missile brick. Yep, that is the missile brick. Definitely living up to its name. This Liberator is going to have its work cut out for it. Another missile being launched from the missile brick. It's tracking quite nicely. That is a solid hit to that Liberator. All of the missiles being taken out. All of the engines being taken out. That is very unfortunate. Aircraft still has Quams on board. However, without those engines, it doesn't have any electric charge to run its radar, which means I'm pretty certain its Quams are not going to be able to lock or fire. Still has that turret. Laser ball has landed on the ground. It must have crashed. This is effectively a 1v1. See how the missile brick is doing over here. Still doing pretty well. It's got plenty of missiles left. This Liberator's about ready to land. It's got one of its engines taken out, or one of its gear taken out. Lands kind of hard. Still mostly intact. Interesting. What's the missile brick doing? It's trying to get locks with those missiles. Again, it only has missiles, no guns. Well, this is a bit of a tricky situation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this one a draw. Effectively, both aircraft, well, the Liberator can still sit and shoot its guns all day at the missile brick, and the missile brick can't seem to get any locks with the heat-seeking missiles while the Liberator is on the ground and without engines. And since this craft only has missiles, the only one that in theory could take out and kill the other at this point is probably the Liberator, but the Liberator is basically stuck on the ground. So I'm going to call it a draw. And in fact, we're going to have a special final 1v1 between these two aircraft. So here we are for the final 1v1 between these aircraft. Let's get them to 16K and start it up. You'll also notice we do have one Hype Squad aircraft to try and keep things interesting. And with that, the aircraft are taking off. I suppose if those purists want to call, Stardust the winner, they can call him the winner, but whatever. It's not going to bother me none. This is my damn show, damn it. And we're doing this to keep things interesting. I just think it's boring to have things obliterated with all kinds of missiles from long range. Watching streaks of missiles just from a distance isn't very entertaining to me. Hopefully this will be more entertaining for everybody involved. And it's still technically a 1v1 between the two aircraft. For all we know, it could wind up the exact same. Bombing could get exploded really quickly on, and then the missile brick and Liberator get to duke it out. Admittedly, though, the missile brick has so many missiles, I doubt it's going to unload all of them. I really don't know how many it has, but I know it's an enormous number. And just like that, the final competition is beginning. Both the Liberator and the missile brick get their missiles off first. Mong Mong looks like it's being tracked by the most missiles. In fact, it is. It's being tracked by all but one missile on the field currently. And it looks like it's just now fired its first MPBM, and there goes its second. Single meteor missile streaks by the Doomslayer, not really doing much of anything. Let's go ahead and just get down here to the Balmung and watch it have some fun as it comes in. Sounds like a missile exploded off to the side. Its own MPBMs are starting to close in on the Doomslayer. Looks like. Let's go ahead and slip to the missile brick, see how it's doing. Missile brick just tracking and following behind the Balmung. Looks like those, what are those? Those are PL-10s. Mong Mong is incredibly fast. All kinds of missiles being launched, but the Balmung is so fast the missiles are actually having trouble locking. Well, not having trouble locking, but having trouble following. Doomslayer's moving in to light up the enemy aircraft with its Doomslayer weapon group. I'm excited for this. Uh-oh, something came in and hit the Liberator. Not sure what that was. It was a missile of some kind. It looked black. It could have been a Quam. Uh-oh, Balmung now on the tail. I can tell because the Balmung is the only other aircraft here that has pulse lasers. Balmung zipping by at well over Mach 1 due to those engines. Doomslayer once again getting some hits on the missile brick, or at the very least shooting at it. Missile brick doing its best to evade. EML shot being launched. Missile brick managing to just barely manage to be hit. Balmung coming in, looking to try and get shots. Missile brick now moving in with some missiles, trying to get close onto the Balmung there. Missile brick appears to be the target once again of the Doomslayer. AIM-9's being launched. Those turrets are really what's doing the most quote-unquote damage here. How's the missile brick doing? Missile brick still good. Still has missiles. The Balmung and the Doomslayer are just having fun. Trying to take pot shots at this lightning-fast aircraft. As we've seen before, it's certainly not invincible, but it is very fast. And you can definitely see that speed right now. Incredibly fast, but that missile looks like it's actually tracked. Nope, it was tracking. Only just able to be avoided. Jeez, we're going back and forth here. Look at this. All right. Now this is an exciting fight. Look at this. So Liberator coming in, still doing that so-called ace combat shit. Missiles being launched en masse from the missile brick onto the Balmung. Balmung managing to avoid them. In a combination of flares and just raw speed. However, a clam comes in and slams. That means the only two aircraft we have left are the missile brick and the Balmung. And those pulse lasers are going, trying to find their target. Balmung is so fast, it's going to have some issues staying behind its target. Doesn't have nearly as much power as the laser ball did with its Gatling laser setup. However, this one is a close second. It does have, I believe, 8 of them, which is exactly half what the laser ball had. Balmung really making the missile brick work for that victory. Hit after hit, slowly taking up. Oh, missile brick seems to be spinning out. It must have hit something, well, something important. Missile brick is looking a little less bricky and a little more flimsy. Not good. If it can't get itself under control, looks like it finally does. Uh-oh, we've got. Oh no! Looks like the missile brick tore itself apart with G-forces or something. I did not see anything. I did not see anything hit it. And it was spinning pretty good. Well. Well, ladies and gentlemen. I guess that means that your winner for the No Limits Special is, in fact, the Hype Squad! Me, Kaz, I win! All of you all suck! Go home! Obviously, I'm just fucking with you guys. No, the winner is actually Box of Stardust and his incredibly efficient missile launching designs. Yes, it's spammy, but at the same time, we saw that the missiles were able to be evaded by faster fighters, and most of the No Limits craft were not that fast. The only real one that really was the Hype Squad craft, and due to that, it was able to outrun or outmaneuver most of the missiles. So, thank you for tuning in for this No Limits special of Fighter Jet Roundtable. I don't know when I'm going to see you all again, but when I do, I hope you will join me for Season 2. And until then, happy flying and happy building.